Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for taking your time off for an hour filled with soothing poetry reading by these beautiful Bhutanese poets present here. Let me first introduce this poetry book. This book is named Folded into a Paper Boat, a collection of poetry from Bhutan. This was published by Rayong Books in 2015 and was recently launched in Thimphu. This book is edited by Ma'am Dalma, our very own RTC lecturer, and Ma'am Somdiki, and also Miss Mui, the owner of the Junction bookstore. This book consists of 13 Bhutanese poets, out of which 3 have graced us with their presence here. And firstly, Ms. Tashipem, who has published short stories since the year 2005. She presently works at Helvetus and has published children's books. And also Mr. Utsav Katiwara. He is an engineer. He has been working on his first novel since the age of 11, and hopefully we will get to read it very soon. He owns the restaurant Milives in Thimphu, where this book was launched. And lastly, our very own RTC student, Tenzip Hinso Namgil, who is currently pursuing BA English EVS in RTC. He has written the poem The Wildflower and the Rock, which is his first poem. We hope that his dream to write a novel someday would come true. Now let's hear them read out their beautiful poems. Let's begin with Ms. Tashipam.
So my poem is called The Message Bearer, and I think especially in Bhutan, all of us have heard the love story of Gasalami Singye and Jaipumi Galim, which unfolds in Punakha and partly also in Gasa. But this poem is not about this famous couple, famous at least in Bhutan. But this story is about a messenger whose name we don't even know. What happens is, as Galim, the female protagonist, lies dying under the shades of a old tree on the banks of the Mochu River in Punakha, and the tree is still there by the banks of the river, not far from the Zong. As she lay dying there, across the river she sees a stranger going up towards Gasa, and that is where her love, Gasalami Singye, is. So she, with her dying breath, sends a message through this messenger. So this poem is a small tribute to this messenger who plays such a crucial role, is the last link between the lovers, but is hardly mentioned anywhere. So this is a small tribute to this messenger, whose name I don't know. So the title of the poem is The Message Bearer. No hate, no spite, not a trace of rage, just soulful, accepting, gentle, like the river near, its cause unseen, its life a ceaseless journey, over whose wet sigh a call to bear a load drifted into the ears of a stranger. If the depths of despair had a sound, this would be the song. If the heights of sorrow had a tale, these would be the lines. No mountain, stream, or shady oak tempted him to rest, for every onward step he made gave solace to a dying face. He reached a bend in the trail and turned to look at Chayu, the fading sight of the Hushi, a fitting sign of 2 fading lives. Her store of merit ending, her body cast out in the open, her mind ripe with pain. Her sin was love, but more sinned against she was, for her love was pitted against the high turquoise sky. Behind the western peaks the sun has long entered, as his torched feet pressed on, much like an eager blind horse. He longed for, and he dreaded, the cold stone courtyard where the weight of his load would shift onto another man. As the words left his tongue, he saw a man crumble. A misty shade seemed to wrap both his mind and body. He had neither broth nor butter to ease the crouching body. He surely did not have the words to ease an anguished mind. He journeyed back and briefly stopped where he'd seen her wait for a shadow to descend down from the trail from Gaza. Soon the autumn fields beyond turned to specks of stalks. Soon the willful mochu in front turned quiet, meek, and small. Time may change, or people do, but the sorrow in the song lived on in his mind, like riches hidden in a cliff, like prayers on walls of stone. And yet he could not pray for another, not to feel her pain, for that would mean that no one else would ever know their love. If there's to be a patch of sun on this dark mountain face, it is that her grief came not from a life that's false or fake, for theirs was a love so vast, a single lifetime could not bear. So past, present, and future lives must all be strung together to hold this one great love. Thank you, La.
Hi, my name is Utsav, and I'm going to read a couple of poems from the book. I tend to write really short poems, so I can probably read two of them for you. Okay, going to start with this one. It's called Itch. It's about wanderlust, it's about needing to travel, needing to leave from wherever you are, wherever you feel stuck. Most things have faded, but their silhouettes remain around the edges of my mind. Here I am, silent prayers alone again, wishing for beauty, grace, and some light of the moon, and I can't believe I'm so drunk on a Tuesday afternoon. You're beautiful, and you have sunshine on your breath, but I've run out of things to say. I want to hold you and tell you I love you, but I don't believe that's true. So I'll slip away and you won't notice I'm gone. See, it's not you or me or them that's wrong, it's just that I've been here too long. And there's that music in my head that keeps playing. Freedom, freedom is all I hear it saying, while it tells of highways and back roads and the dust that fills the air, and how the wind will blow my shadow everywhere. To where the sun sets over water, or on the road that meets the sky, that as I learn to live, so might I be blessed to die. Sometimes it hurts my very bones just to stay. I know sometime, maybe someday, if I can just see through another week. But not tonight, I say that every night. The other one is called stochasticity. I'm guessing most of you hate math, but I had to study a lot of math. So stochasticity is actually a word that I learned in math. It means something like randomness. It's about how you describe a system. So this is my idea of how we got here and stochasticity. Flecks of stardust recombined in you and I. And every time you smile, we are drawn closer, even in an expanding universe. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Tenzifon Sunamgil, and I'm a second year student here in RTC, and I'm currently pursuing English and environmental studies. The poem I wrote, The Wildflower and the Rock, it's basically about a flower who is trying to cling on to life and then trying very desperately to look for some shelter. A wildflower in the winter grows, the ground beneath her all dead. Against the frosty chills, the screaming winds, her roots crying, they spread. She once used to be a flower full of summer, but a fire scorched her from drawing too close, her summer heart was charred. Somewhere far a rock steered, lifeless, no, he's awake. Plagued by all the withering snow, his walls cry, but they don't break. The rock made bridges, for long ago he believed that all things are beautiful when led from afar to meet. But then the snow started falling, it snowed for nights and days. So when the bridge started to give in, he fell and fell and fell. Crushed and shattered into the abyss, in darkness steed, he became one instead. And at times they say you can hear him, as though the winds of winter were his scream. Yet now at a distance he saw her, her color warm of hue. He woke up from his icy sleep, and those curses by themselves withdrew. The wildflower knew not of him and his crying walls, but she saw the lines his tears carved and saw all her fire disappear. They met in winter on a cold snowy day, her climb for him just too steep. Against all the frosty chills, she made her way towards him. With gradual moves onto the slopes, the rock moved in and called her. With tangled roots, she crept in, and in his shadow found shelter. And that is how the rock fell in with the wildflower, and how she gave him all her heart to have him kill that fire. For wildflowers do grow on rocks, even during winters, especially during winters. Thank you.
Thank you, the poets. Such beautiful poems. Now the floor is open for if anybody wants to share their poems.
My name is Kezang Choden, and I'm studying BA Sociology and Political, and I'm in second year. Actually, I just came up with this poem because we only just knew that we were, we'll be given opportunity to read our own poems. So, the theme of my poem is LGBT, and it's called Nothing Wrong. That scream, darling, in his silence, do you hear it? You don't, no. He shouted your name, you didn't look. It's a square-shaped world. He's a five-pointed star, trying to fit in, trying so hard. So many things wrong with the world, with him, mostly him. How he wished God would fix him. How I longed to tell God needn't. There was nothing wrong with him. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tandon. Currently, I'm pursuing BA English and EVS in the second year. I would like to read a poem. I wouldn't call it a poem because it is just a random thoughts. Here it goes. Writing is really a big job. I would sit on the chair, lie on the bed, look out the window, but nothing comes into my mind. I would pour myself a cup of coffee, light an incense, sharpen my pencil, but still nothing comes to my mind. Maybe my poetic mood is not yet awake now. Now I would go for a walk, try to think about a topic to write when I get back. I get back, take a shower, have my dinner, chit-chat a little bit, and darn, it's bedtime. Anyway, I will write my poem tomorrow. Thank you.
Good afternoon, I'm Maritza, I'm from Germany and I will be here for 1 year. And similar to Kezang, this poem has just been born during the last couple of minutes. It's a story about love, and hopefully most of you can recognize the theme that's going on here. Grief. Everything is sad and grey. One day it happened. The world eclipsed. But there is a sun behind every cloud, right? No, no. Back I go, and forth, but back again. Serenity. Everything seems just okay. The grief is gone, but still, some days. I keep going. I go forth, but I look back. I remember, go forth again. Free, like I'm broken out, I'm done. I am so done with you. Thanks for the memories, but I go forth and forth and forth. Thank you, La.
My name is Maritza Mckinney, and I am the librarian, and I've been here for a year. Okay, so I wrote this poem. I was on a silent retreat, and if any of you have done a silent retreat, you know that many things come up. So my poem is, Who Am I? I am the lotus, the roots from which all my life has grown. They hold me to this world. The stem supports the beautiful blossom I have become, if only for the impermanence of my glorious existence. The pod on which frogs and turtles come to rest. I am all that connects each part together, below and above the surface, seen and unseen, both in the muddy waters and the blossom that offers fragrance to the heavens. I am all you wish me to become, all I failed to achieve. I am the early bird, the eager worker. I am the slothful loiterer, the Johnny-come-lately. I am the owner and the parable teller. I am the one whom you have taught to see with my eyes and heart, to hear in silence. I am the one you have blessed, the one who came to you with broken wings, the one you taught to soar above the hurt and loneliness. I am all who love you. I am nothing without your love. I am the wanderer, directionless. I am the pilgrim on the road to meet you. I am lost and found. I am rich yet poor, and poor yet rich. I am everything and nothing, all in a speck of time. I see eternity before me and nothing in front of my eyes. I am wise and foolish, brave and a coward. I am uncertainty. I live in a glass house. I will not throw stones. I glimpse a truth. I live a lie. I hunger and thirst for pleasure and righteousness and experience pain. I am your lover. I steal moments to be in your presence. My feet glide across the path. I am weightless in my joy, giddy like a schoolgirl in love. You hold me in the palm of your hand. I hold you in mine. Beloved, how shall I serve you?
Hi everyone, my name is Bhutan and I'm studying BA English and Environmental Studies, second year. Please look at me as if I'm a middle school boy. I just want to give life to my poem which got published for the first time when I was in class 7. And it's about spring. It's called Spring, and it reads, Spring has come, oh my friends, spring is a present, let us enjoy. Flowers are blooming, yellow, red, and blue. Butterflies are flying, tiny, big, and small. It rains lightly. Mondays, Thursdays, and Tuesdays, birds are chirping morning, evening, and afternoon. The days and nights are beautiful. Moon, sun, and stars. I'm happy. Breakfast, dinner, and lunch. Spring has come. Oh, my friends. Spring is a present. Let us enjoy. Thank you.
Hello everyone. I'm Kilit Tenzin, final year student, political science sociology. This is a poem it's actually my 3 a.m. thought. She had the sparkle in her eyes, the one uh, that no one had ever seen, the sparkle that had never been. She never looked him in the eyes, thinking the sparkles were all but lies. Never did she hear the silence in his cries. Maybe she just never tried. Fall came and went again, hope rekindled and gone again. Man became a boy again, and she missed the throne again. Hope was bleak and fading, his heart aching and bleeding. The bold never conquered the gold. Maybe it was never meant to be. Thank you.
Now we will just go on with the question and answer session.
Thank you all for your very nice poems. I have a question to all of you. Have you visited the places, especially the nature places that your poems all talked about, or do you have a specific place where you write your poems? Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I have visited part of the place that I mentioned in the poem, especially as I said, the tree is still standing there, and it's right by the bank of the Mochu River in Punakha. So I think many of you would have seen that place. But I mean, I don't have a poem place. I probably, I write anywhere when it inspires me. So it could be in a corner of a room somewhere, or in the small balcony behind the kitchen, or in the park while my children are playing, and I have some time to myself. Yeah.
No, I think the answer as far as the places in your poems go, I think with all poetry, it's, I think everything exists in a space that is between reality and imagination, I mean, there's a little bit of both. So you have seen something like it, but then, if you were just going to write what you've already seen. It's just an article. It's not a poem anymore. So there's something of your own imagination as well as something that you've seen. So I guess that answers your first question.
I can't really think of any particular moment or a place where I don't even remember where I wrote this poem actually. But then 2 years ago, when I was traveling, when I was on my way to Ha, and then um, I get glimpses. When I wrote about the wildflower, I used to get glimpses after those journeys, and then some stuffs which keeps getting into your mind, and you somehow need to let them out, and then that's why I wrote the poem. So
Specific time that you write your poem, like for example, for myself, I write either early in the morning or very late night when everyone is asleep. That's when my mind gets a little bit rest, so I just pour down the feelings on the paper.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes there's something, you see something and then you feel that you have to maybe put it in words, or sometimes it's you're listening to an old song and then you want to write, then it evokes certain feelings and then you feel like writing about it.
It's actually a writer like me or like a lot of other writers. We're very bad writers or lazy writers in that we wait for inspiration to strike to write, and I really think that's a really inefficient way of writing because often you need to keep writing even though you're not really sure of what you're writing, even though you're not 100% comfortable with what you're writing, but something good might come out of it. So if you do feel that need to write, at any time, if you do feel like writing at all times, I think you should do it uh, as much as possible, not just wait for inspiration to strike, because you never know when your next inspiration is coming. It could be another 5 years.
Do you self-edit your poems? And if yes, how many times? And what is your view on editing? Do you think it changes your intention of writing the poem?
Speaking strictly for me, I think I slightly change a couple of words every time I read my poems, so that it doesn't feel like you're stuck to something. But of course, once it's in print, it is what it is. It's been published like that. But then every time I read it, I do change a few things around, just depending on how you maybe how you're feeling that time. So I guess it stays more alive that way. So I think there's nothing wrong in editing your poems. I mean, you can always go back, see how you can make it better. I know a lot of people who say you shouldn't edit once you've written it. I don't believe that.
I'm actually very glad to be here because I love poetry. I have my own collection of poems that I've tried. They're not poems, but I'm trying poems. I'm really interested to know how you kind of began writing poetry. When is it that you realized that you want to write poems, and when did it actually begin?
Well, I never really considered myself a poet. Really, I mean, it's still it still takes time to get used to being called a poet as such, because I'm just some guy scribbling stuff in his notebooks. Um, I think I didn't even start out writing poetry. I was trying to write pop songs when I was really young, but they were not musical at all. So I guess they ended up becoming poems. So
I wouldn't have a specific time or anything. I think occasionally you write bits and pieces when something inspires you, and then yeah, you just write it and leave it on an old notebook written somewhere, forgotten. But I think when Riyang Books came up with this idea of putting together these poems, that is when you think like, yeah, maybe it is worth contributing or attempting to write a poem towards such a publication sale. So I think then
Poetry can be the base of very good songs. So I know, Tashipen, that you are singing. Did you use some of your poems as a base for your songs?
poetry and music so closely associated. I just sang one song, so I'm there's just one song, and yeah, it was a love song, and love is, I think, a theme that comes very easily into poetry and into music. So yeah, I think you could say that.
actually, to be honest, I don't actually read that much poetry. I tend to read very little poetry, but I couldn't tell you my favorite poet, but one of my favorite poems is something I could recite for you if you'd like. Um, it's by Edna St. Vincent Millay. So it goes, my candle burns at both ends. It will not last the night. But ah, my friends and oh, my foes, it gives a lovely light.
My name is Tashi Chodan. I'm pursuing BA Sociology and Political Science in third year. It is my privilege to deliver the word of thanks on this gracious occasion. On behalf of Royal Thimphu College and the entire Reading Club team, I would like to extend a very heartfelt gratitude to all the speakers for sharing their wonderful poem with us. I'd also like to extend our thanks to the Reading Club team and all the people who, despite of their busy schedule, came here to attend this wonderful session. Thank you all and hope you had a great time.